Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stone Politics. I just want to make more content, and I think that this might be a good start. So, anyway, I'm going to briefly talk about a topic each time. Today, we're going to talk about crime and punishment, and I'm going to just give my opinion a little bit on what the difference is on this issue between the right and the left. Obviously, huge generalization, but I think the biggest difference is just how each side views crime, though. I think for the left, crime is something that oftentimes occurs because of someone's environment. It's something that comes from poverty and socioeconomic issues. It comes from your environment. It comes from all these mostly external factors that are harder to control. Whereas I think the right is really saying that people who commit crimes are committing those crimes because that's like a part of their character and that it's just bad. Sorry, I can't explain it quite as well because, I just don't quite get it. Anyway, when it comes to punishing these crimes, we also see that become a really big difference. For the right, it's kind of this retributive, I hope I said that right, retributive kind of justice. But essentially the goal of their justice system is to almost, the goal of the rights justice system is to punish. It's to exact revenge almost, or inflict as much suffering as that person has caused. That's the idea. And the idea is that is going to deter people from committing crimes because they don't want to face the same level of suffering, I guess. And the other idea is that by making someone suffer for their crimes, you are thus making things right. And I think that there's some pretty intuitive sense that makes some sense. However, I think that it really simplifies what our justice system as a country should be doing. And as a country, I think that that's where the left's idea is that we shouldn't be basing our justice system off of how we feel about a situation. We should use it for what it's useful for. And that's where the idea of actually restorative justice or rehabilitation rather than just simply containing the person who committed the crime. Anyway, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of these. Subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me here. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. Today I'm wondering why so many goddamn right libertarians are still okay with drugs just being illegal and heavily criminalized and used to continue the oppression of people of color and other minorities. I don't know, it just goes to show you that right libertarianism oftentimes ends up just being whatever they want it to be. Of course, I'm sure there are some right libertarians out there that are no, even hard drugs should be legal. And with that, I say, good. That is what would be consistent with the general values you got going on. But it just seems like there's so many of them that, so many people out there that want a small government, but then are totally okay with that government controlling what substances anyone is allowed to use at a given time, and violently putting anyone down who tries to use substances that may or may not be healthy for them. But that, at least to me, just seems like the real answer is to get them help, to make addiction counseling and rehabilitation more accessible, cheaper, and to just really have better education around drug safety. And I don't know, I'm sure there's so many different ways that smarter people than me could figure out how to help these people that deal with addiction. But that's all to say that it's we should treat it as a mental or not even a mental health, just a health crisis. It's people using substances that maybe they knew they shouldn't necessarily do, but use them anyway and are addicted. And now the solution isn't to lock them up in jail in a horrible environment to try to get clean in. Apparently our solution is that, but I feel like the solution should be, let's help make sure that those people can get the resources that they need. Of course, some people will say that, well, the police are getting the drugs off the street. And I just have to say, are they? I don't really feel like they do. And, there's past examples of, like, the CIA being directly involved with, like, getting drugs into specific communities and stuff. I'm just saying, I think that it would be better if we make it legal. Basically everything. Like, decriminalize everything. Maybe it's, like, not legal to, like, make it, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Like, follow, all that good. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stoned Politics. Today, well, I'm inside because I'm tired. I just got back home from work and I'm tired. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that under capitalism, there's a few reasons why work is more tiring and more energy intensive than it actually needs to be. And I think the motivation for this is that, well, if you're always tired from work, then you're never going to have time to, learn about... Sorry, my dog just saw a cat. Anyway, when you're always worried about, your dog freaking out, or doing other, like, daily life things, and you have work on top of that, most people are just too tired to learn about politics or learn about how they might be oppressed by their economic system. And I think that's definitely in the advantage of the capitalists. And like I was trying to say before, I think that there's a lot of unneeded intensity to work and unneeded tiredness when it comes to work. In reality, I don't think that we need to work as much as we do, actually. I think that with automation and a lot of the advances that we have today, really we shouldn't be working so much more. We are working so much more than our grandparents even, and their grandparents, and people from way back in the day. We're working way more than them, when you would think with technology that means we get to work less. I don't know. It seems kind of fishy, and I guess maybe it's just like me trying to explain the misery that is work. But I genuinely believe that work doesn't have to be so miserable and so tiring and so draining. I think that it really is because our work demands more from us than we really need to give and what we are designed to give, if you want to put it that way. Alright, this one was a little bit less clear, but I guess that's what happens when you do politics stoned, is that sometimes things might not come out quite right, so I'm not accountable to anything I say here. I'm just trying to spread a message, hopefully a good message, and a message to, like, think about your work, and think about sorry about that. Think about what you actually want to be doing and what you deserve. Because I guarantee you deserve more. You deserve to work less, and you deserve better hours. Anyway, follow, like, thank you. Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to Stoned Politics. Today, I think I'm going to talk about the police. I think it's time. There was just some really horrible police footage that came out, some body cam footage of the killing of Tyrese Nichols. I am sorry if I got that name wrong. I am high right now. But anyway, I just want to talk about how the police suck and how it's something that's, like, ingrained into policing that is, like, the reason why they suck. Like, when we say ACAB, all cops are bastards, we are not necessarily saying that, like, every cop, every police officer out there is individually a bad person. No, it's that the profession and institution of policing, which is made up of lots of people, and varies quite widely. There are sorry, gonna wait for this car to go by. There are degrees in how bad police can be. Of course, all of this is nuance. But still, with all cops are bastards, we are still saying that no matter what, part of this profession requires you to oppress poor people, to do violent things, to be the threat of violence in order to control the population. That's just what police do, and we can't really get away with that. Alright, as I was saying, something about cops and ACAB. Yeah, I think that is just ingrained within the system that if you're kind of built to be a hammer, everything's gonna look like a nail. And I think that's why we get so much police brutality, is that just every understanding of... My light turned off. Every understanding of what being a police officer is entails some level of violence. At the very least, detaining a person, which is a form of, restricting the control of another person. I think that can be violence in a broad sense of the term. Anyway, if you're a police officer or know other police officers, don't be mean to them individually. Be mean to them online, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know what the moral is. I think that it's something that we're not going to be able to abolish the police tomorrow. But ACAB still, I guess. Like, share, follow. Bye. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. Today I wanted to talk about why I think being a radical, or even what some might say an extremist, is okay. I think oftentimes in the moderate and centrist sort of space of politics, there comes up this narrative that extremism is always bad, and both the far right and the far left are just as bad. And I think that that's just absolutely ridiculous. On its surface, I feel at the most basic level, what the far right wants is just at least to me, seems just exactly much more horrible than what the far left would want. The far right, Nazism, fascism, theocracy, all of these sorts of things, they're bad. Their goals are to harm people because of usually unalienable characteristics. Their policies are built off of the idea of exclusion and hurting a specific group of people because of what that group represents, and preservation of a mythical identity that just is not even helpful to most people. They don't want to change. They don't want to fix the problems of the world. They want to create the problems, or at least their solution to the problems is hurting a bunch of people. Whereas on the far left, our goal is very specifically to help people. And I know that's what the far right would say that their goals are as well. But the policies that they have end up just verifiably leading to people being hurt and people suffering. Versus on the left, we want to actually just try to come up with the best policies that help the most amount of people. And I don't know, I feel we should have a policy of inclusion and understanding and willingness to change, rather than trying to live up to some mythical idea of what our society should be that is really tied up in the past, and we should move on. Anyway, thank you for listening. like, follow. See you. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. I know it's been a little while. I was sick for a little bit, and then I just was having trouble getting back into the habit, so hopefully we can do better going forward. Anyway, today... Oh shit, I didn't come up with a topic yet. Okay, today let's talk about some urbanism. How about that? I think that the way that we plan our cities and the way that we design how we get around and stuff like that is a really interesting example of how big corporations have kind of used the government to do their own will and to subsidize the industries that make them profit, even at the expense of environment and people's quality of life and safety and everything like that. Now, what I'm talking about this, I think what I want to talk about with urbanism to get people started is with highways. Highways, they kind of suck, and it didn't even start with just highways, but just the way that we have so many damn roads. Got an accent there for a minute. Okay, so anyway, cars are the problem. That's what I meant to say. I mean, they kind of helped play a huge role in getting us into climate change, which is a great thing. You know, we love that. It wasn't all cars, but cars do play at least some role. But the role that I want to look at specifically is how they damage the urban environment, you could say, in a way. Because really, cars, they're just a really inefficient way of moving around a lot of people. Roads and streets, and especially big highways, require so much space. It just eats up land at a extreme speed, a speed that is not sustainable. It's really expensive to completely maintain all of these giant ass roads, but it's really inefficient as well, because now you have less space for housing or grocery stores and everything else that you need in a city. And then the cars themselves usually are taking one, maybe two, maybe 3 or 4 people at the same time, all with one engine, versus thinking about a train. A train has one engine. It can take 200 people, if not more or less, depending on circumstances. Either way, much more efficient. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stoned Politics. Sorry last time the audio was messed up. Actually, let me... I thought I might be covered in the mic again. But last time we talked about urbanism. Basically, a collection of kind of ideas to try to make cities more walkable, more sustainable, and more equitable in terms of how it's built, how it's arranged, how it's designed, and what sort of services and amenities are prioritized. So last time we talked about how freeways, giant freeways, are just a really inefficient use of space, and how cars also are very inefficient, just because you're moving a few people with lots of engines rather than lots of people with one engine. But another thing with urbanism that I think is important to talk about is that it's about equality, trying to bring equality into a community and make a community accessible for everyone. So that means prioritizing accessibility for people with disabilities in all sorts of ways, but also the biggest thing is probably economically, prioritizing density rather than big lots and single-family homes, rather trying to go for 3 and 4-story apartment buildings and duplexes and triplexes and quadplexes even. There's just ways in which we can adjust our zoning laws just a little bit and open up a huge market of housing for people. Going back to cars though, we need to I don't think urbanists necessarily want to fully get rid of cars, so, you know, I wouldn't take it to that extreme. But I think that the idea is that you should be able to live without a car, that it's not a complete necessity, and that other methods are actually like practical and dignified. All right, we shifted a little away from people talking, but anyway, so yeah, cars bad, and because they're inefficient and everything like that, but also because their infrastructure is less friendly to even like other modes of travel. With cars, it makes it very dangerous to like try to walk around a community. Versus like trams, there's even like trams that like go over grass, and so like it just feels like a much more inviting area and a much safer area for people just walking. It means you can just walk to your work or school or grocery store. Anyway, bye. Like the video, follow. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. Today, I'm not sure exactly what I want to talk about. I'm kind of tired, and I was just watching the Super Bowl. That's why it looks like I've got like face paint from football on it. But yeah, I think that the game was rigged. I think that the NFL has become more and more corrupt over the time that I watched them. And I think that there's a lot of problematic things about professional football that don't get talked about because it's supposed to not be political. If you remember back when Colin Kaepernick was trying to protest and use his position and platform as a football player to sorry, I'm talking about American football, by the way. I recognize that that doesn't make sense to the other 90% of the world or whatever. Anyway, yeah, the NFL has been screwed over by capitalism and taken over by huge people that control lots of money and the very, very strong forces of capitalism. I described that weirdly, but I think you know what I'm getting. Basically, the NFL has become a large corporation and started to have the problems that come with being a corporation, which means that you start to neglect things like the safety of your players, the integrity of the sport and the game. Instead of making the rules equitable and making the games just play how they would naturally play based off of the people's each team's skill and strategy and everything like that. Instead, the games are crafted to have specific narratives that really, I think, are important to their bottom line as a league. They get their money through people engaging with the sport beyond just watching every Sunday. I think that it's getting them involved with the football media as well. I think that's a huge thing. And I'm sure there's lots of great football media out there, but when you tie all of these industries together, you start to get some perverse incentives. Incentives like kind of subtly controlling games in order to, one, make them closer than they normally would be and make them thus more exciting. Same with just making the rules to make the game look more exciting, even if it's not necessarily fair. And doing the same thing, just like paying off the refs, like, you know, they always used to. Anyway, like, follow. See you next time. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. So I already recorded this video, and then I accidentally deleted it, and my dog is ripping up my mattress pad that I was trying to let him use as a bed because he ripped up his bed. And so there's stuffing everywhere. Okay, sorry about the interruption. I talked about healthcare in the last video, but that's fucking boring. So, you know, let's analyze this situation with my dog. This is a example of how everything is political. Literally, anytime two people are interacting and making decisions about what you can do or what resources you have, that's politics. Basically, anytime that two people need to like work together is politics. So Dr. Casey, if you ever watch this, I hope that I make you proud. Anyway, so my dog here, he's destroying my shit, right? He is a very smart dog, very smart, and he has a lot of energy. And unfortunately, I don't have the same energy as he has, and it's been kind of cold and snowy lately, and so I just like haven't been able to walk him as much. But he has needs. He needs stimulation, and if I don't play with him enough, let him go on walks enough, or let him do other shit enough, he's gonna chew on my stuff because he's like, I gotta do something. I'm gonna destroy stuff. That's the only thing I know how to do. Um, okay, maybe this is a better setting for these videos. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, how my dog destroys stuff. Anyway, he has needs, and I'm not giving him his needs. Similar to how, if people need to, say, eat, have health care, have, like, reliable utilities, if they don't get those things, they figure out a way to get those things. It's as simple as that. It's just that, like, this can be related to crime. Right now, my dog is doing antisocial behavior. He's basically committing a crime. Obviously, he doesn't really know it's a crime. He's just like, oh, this thing that I can chew on, I'm gonna do that. But in the real world, not that this isn't the real world, it's a criminal doing something antisocial, stealing, destroying property, whatever it is. I genuinely think that that can be applied in a similar way, that it's just like their needs aren't being met. Anyway, follow, like the video if you liked it. See you next time. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stoned Politics. Today, I sort of forgot my topic. I think it was something about capitalism and space, and I think I got into like colonialism. I think that I was gonna try to explain colonialism, but now that I'm trying to do that, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Anyway, though, we are going to try to explain how capitalism, like, cool stuff like space, like Star Wars, like sports cars. I'm just looking at stuff in my room. Like dinosaurs, probably. I don't know. Like all these cool things, they are cool, right? That's what they are, is cool. But capitalism, they just like stain it. He just stole his harness off of his crate. Anyway, dogs are cool. Yeah, they're cool. Capitalism fucks that up too, because it turns poor little dogs into property. It turns everything into something that is bought and sold, a commodity. It really strips away a lot of specialness to some of these things. Space is no longer this a mysterious frontier, this place of exploration, and we just like have no idea what is even out there still, and there's just like still so much that we could find out. Like, I think that all these things are cool, but when capitalism tries to like capitalize on these things, it just turns space into like, oh, we should go like mine shit up there. It's like, okay, like slow down. This isn't about just like getting stuff that you can come back to Earth and buy. This like we should like really consider why we want to go to Mars or colonize Mars, for example. It's like just so some rich assholes can get away from Earth. Yeah, no. I think that we need to like think about what Mars means to us and the solar system. I think that we should prioritize just like learning about it and learning about like how we could explore that far out into space. Anyway, I got a little bit more stoned than I should have for making this video, but hopefully it was still fun. Thank you for watching. Follow, like, everything like that. Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. Today, I wanted to talk about the train derailment that happened in Ohio. If you haven't heard, there was a train carrying vinyl chloride, something like that, some sort of very dangerous chemical. Um, the train derailed, and then they had to do like a controlled like explosion to like release all of the toxic materials. But I don't know exactly what happened, but now there's toxic materials just like everywhere across like Ohio area, and it's like getting down into the rivers and killing fish and chickens, and it's sad. um but the way that people are talking about this, at least in some political circles, are like, I'm in political circles. I watched a fucking YouTube video about this earlier, and it got me really mad. You know Tucker Carlson? He 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 had on a Ohio congressperson. I forget who it was. JD Vance, and he's a Republican. Um, and they just were talking about it in such a hypocritical manner. They were like, "Oh, the EPA, see, they're not doing their job because they're concerned about environmental racism and fake problems like that." It's like, first of all, environmental racism is a very real thing, um, and probably in this disaster, like, it probably played a role. I'm going to guess that the people of color in those communities are more disproportionately affected, or at least these sorts of things happen at a large scale, more with people of color that have been pushed out to, or just simply don't have this political power to resist dangerous things happening. Anyway, so they're totally ignoring the fact that like this happened because a corporation didn't want to get new braking systems, at least from what I heard, and refused to listen to the workers who were like, "Hey, we're super understaffed and like can't make sure everything's safe, um, and we like need to upgrade all this stuff." And the corporations are just like, "No, we want to make money. We want to have as few employees as possible and make as few safety improvements as they can, because those things don't make profit. Maintenance doesn't make profit, so they don't want to do it." All right, that's my time. Like, follow, comment, all that good stuff. See you next time. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. Today, I wanted to come back to the Ohio train disaster that happened, the train derailment that occurred outside of East Palestine, and it was carrying toxic chemicals, and well, it got everywhere. I wanted to come back to this because I really wanted to emphasize just like how easily avoided this problem could have been, and how our current system is just simply set up to allow these things to happen, and really there's no punishment for the people who are neglecting the safety of large communities of people and ignoring what workers are saying. So anyway, just to catch people back up, there was a train that derailed outside of East Palestine, Ohio, and it was carrying vinyl chloride, which is very toxic and makes like PVC pipes. I don't think PVC is like toxic in it of itself, but like if it gets into your water, or at least like the base chemicals get into your water and in the air and stuff, it can be bad. Anyway, so yeah, horrible thing that happened. Again, best wishes to the people that have been affected by that. I hope that relief comes as fast as possible, and I'm sure there's like charities that you can look up and donate to if you are able to. But let's not forget that this happened because our system failed, essentially. Workers have been, railroad workers have been talking for a long time about how there are certain maintenance things that need to be done with these cars and the railroads. And because if you don't do that maintenance, this is what happens. And let's just take a moment to appreciate how capitalism literally does not have a profit incentive to like protect the environment, protect people, protect safety. Like capitalists just don't have that incentive. The profit motive is to make money, right? Make money for your shareholders, and putting in work safety measures and doing regular maintenance to make sure that your train doesn't derail and pollute like a quarter of the country. Um, yeah, that doesn't make money really. I mean, like it does. Well, it shouldn't, or it should like be damaging long term, and that should be the incentive. But unfortunately, corporations have also bought off the state, and there just really isn't any enforcement mechanisms to keep things going. I kind of repeated myself this time, but just wanted to shed light back on to this topic. Like, follow, see you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stoned Politics. Today, I think I want to talk about drugs and addiction. This is a subject that I've started to become more and more passionate about over my life. Of course, you can see I've got a marijuana leaf flag. I think that I very much value the freedom that thankfully living in Colorado has given me, in that I have the ability to freely smoke weed. I think that that's great, and I think that that's a right that everyone should have. I think that everyone should decide for themselves what they put in their body. And of course, I recognize that drugs can be bad for someone's health, that is, but they can also be good for their health. And I think that the line between like drugs being unhealthy and healthy is a lot more gray. There's a lot more gray area than I think, at least what our laws and legal systems say the difference is. Anyway, yeah, I think that all drugs should be legal. I know that might sound like a radical idea, but that's what I think. I think that even if something like heroin is really not great for people's health generally, and just like overall life satisfaction most of the time, I think that the solution to the problem of people having heroin addictions or overdosing from whatever various types of substances out there, the problem isn't to like make it criminal. I think I haven't really admittedly talked to as many addicts as maybe I would like to, or listen to them as much, but I do think that it really infantilizes people who are addicted to substances to say that like the solution is to make it legal. I'm pretty sure most of the time people understand that it's kind of bad. I feel like the problem with addiction is that people either A, don't recognize that they have an addiction, or B, even if they recognize it, they just like physically can't help themselves, and mentally can't help themselves from pursuing it. Obviously the solution is just to like give people the health care that they need, not throw them in jail. That's just a ridiculous idea to me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, follow, everything like that. See you next time. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stoned Politics. Today I just want to talk about how, just like how unfair capitalism is, I think, from the standpoint of just a normal customer service worker, a blue-collar worker, just all of these jobs that basically run the entire economy, right? Well, we never pay them enough. Of course, like, so many of the most important jobs in this world are super underpaid. Like teachers, they do not get paid enough for the work that they do. Janitors, the same thing. Farmers, of course. Just like basically any job that isn't like upper management, it's way over or underpaid. Like even doctor, honestly, kind of underpaid. just considering what they do. But I would say more so than that, nurses crazy underpaid, and you know, uh, then the economists and the government, they they look at when they have like a teacher shortage or a nursing shortage or all these other labor shortages, and they're like, oh my gosh, why won't anyone work for us? Oh no, oh my gosh. And well, it's because they also don't have to necessarily like think about it, because they'll be fine. The rich people that are making the decisions to keep these wages low, they'll be fine. They'll be able to still access healthcare and education, and they'll still, have food on the table, and people that can build their stuff, um, they'll still have that. They don't have to worry about uh, they don't have to worry about those things. It's just as much, and so it's not really worth it to them to pay more than they have to. And I think that it's also not just individuals. I think it's something that's just like baked into the system. Just the idea of someone owning a company and then never actually like doing the work. They hire other people, but that means that they're not doing work in the same way anymore. Their value that they're adding is different. And yeah. Anyway, um, get paid the best that you can, unionize in your workplace and fight for better wages. I don't know. I'm a little high. Bye. Like, follow, everything like that. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stone Politics. Today, well, earlier I was thinking about how much I have eaten today, and I was feeling kind of guilty about it. And it also sucks that it's like I only really have been eating junk food, nothing good. And the beauty of being high is that somehow that made me think about like agriculture and the way that our food is so often produced further and further away from us now than in the past. Especially in a lot of these core countries where I live in America. Um, Especially, we gather ourselves mainly in these urban centers, which I love cities and urbanism and urban design and stuff. But the problem is that the way we've been doing it completely excludes agriculture. And so a lot of our food being grown has to be pushed out way, way, way out to the outskirts of all of the large cities. And of course, the way we do it as well requires so much land and is so intensive. And so, I don't know. I think that there will be some big changes coming, especially with climate change, forcing, I think, a lot of changes. But let's not forget that this is a political issue as well. I believe that there have been some incentives that push so much of the proletariat class, the working class people. They basically divide the working class, whether this is natural or through intention or just incentive systems. I think that it's very convenient for the capitalists that half of the proletariat lives isolated in these very tiny communities that are oftentimes so underserved and undereducated and under covered by healthcare. Like, there's just so many ways in which people who live in rural areas, the places that actually grow the food, are completely isolated from everyone else. So I don't know what it all means. I am really high right now, but make your own connections between agriculture and like the way we grow things and the way that we separate both ourselves from where the food's being grown and the people growing the food from where most of it goes. Something's got to change, I think. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like, follow, everything like that. Have a good night.